Pathmonk is the intelligent tool for website lead generation. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition online. Pathmonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50%. Add Pathmonk to your website in seconds. Let the AI do all the work and get access to 50% more qualified leads while you keep doing marketing and sales as usual. Check us on pathmonk.com. Well, welcome to today's episode. Let's talk about today's guest. We have Eric Kramer from Personal AI, head of marketing with them. How are you doing today, Eric?
Hey, Ernesto. Good to be here.
It's awesome it's great to have you on today's episode. And I'm sure our listeners are tuning in wondering what Personal AI is all about. So let's kick it off with that. Eric, in your own words, can you tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, for sure. So Personal AI is really all about creating a digital twin for our users. To think about an AI model that's trained on you specifically, it captures kind of your personality, your knowledge, even your way of thinking. We can take a person's data like writing, social media, emails, et cetera, and kind of train them all into your unique AI just for you. It's like having a digital version of yourself that you can interact with, can answer questions for people, and even be creative on your behalf. I work with one every day. The goal is really to have everyone given their own personal AI assistant. So ultimately, everyone in your company will have, just like they have an Instagram account, will have their own AI in our kind of future, where we kind of see things that even if you're on your maternity leave or something like that, an AI can be there and answer all the questions. If you want 24/7 access to your CEO or C-suite, that can be done with a personal AI. Really, it's all about trust for us. So ultimately, we want to take a slow approach to AI that has more control for the user built in. And that's really kind of what personal AI is.
Definitely important. All right. Awesome to hear that there from you, Eric, and for Personal AI. And so that way our listeners can get a good understanding there of your company then. What would you say is that key problem that you guys like to solve for clients?
Ultimately, it's a problem that every single person on earth has, and that is we want to give people more hours in their day. Ultimately, there are a ton of repetitive or automatable things that take up our time that can easily be outsourced to an AI. Things, customer service that are actually trained appropriately on exact responses and getting people to where they should be, and things like that.
Okay, all right. And so then who would usually use, Personal AI? Is there a vertical segment? Is there an ideal ICP there for Personal AI?
Yeah, for sure. Our greatest success right now comes from companies individual people who want to use AI, but are currently kind of worried about the normal inaccuracies that are coming from the large language models. So people really ultimately want a more secure, personally owned and integratable AI that they can trust with their business. For instance, you'll see there's been a lot of news out there that forced a lot of lawyers to us because you'll see that there's a court case recently where a lawyer was citing 6 to 8 cases that didn't exist, and he got in trouble with the judge. So a lot of lawyers have come to us, which has been a great vertical. Stanford just did a study where they found that 68 to 88% of legal matters ChatGPT faked or made up. So we have a lot of that come to us because all the information is trained on you specifically, or court cases or things like that for lawyers. We do a lot of health professionals who need kind of a siloed, secure AI to help them with their practices. So we do that a lot. But ultimately, people who are chomping the bit are credentialed or licensed professionals, people with status. If you've got to deal with repetitive questions all the time, or you've got global access needs, like a lot of C-level suites for international companies do. If you need language access, if someone has a question in a foreign language, how do you answer that question 24/7? AI is the best way to do that right now. Anybody with a supply-demand mismatch of their time. Anybody who's got more time requests from them than they have hours of their day. Perfect examples of people who like to use AI, and Personal AI is leading in this right now.
I would totally agree with you on that. I mean, like you mentioned, right? That lawyer that kind of just went off the whim like that, trying to play it off. It's a little bit out there, right? But I'm glad there's something like this, like personal AI, to secure their jobs primarily, right? To be right and
Yeah.
correct and doing. So say I was, I was a lawyer, right? How would I usually find out about personal AI? Is there a top client acquisition channel for you guys?
So as kind of said, as far as the traditional paid earned goes, you really stick to earned and owned. Direct and referral traffic kind of battle that out for us for number one. Organic is close. We're trying to increase that organic reach as well. So we're doing a lot of SEO, a lot of content writing. Is really kind of been a major state for us, but a lot of word of mouth is really kind of how we get a lot of our customers. We've done well by some people, and they've been sending us customers left and right. So we keep trying to do that, and hopefully referrals is number one driver of business.
Definitely. Okay, perfect. And so that way our listeners who are tuned in could go ahead and visit you. They could always check you guys out at personal.ai. What role then does the website play for client acquisition?
It's a massive, I think, of any company now. I think it is, you're going to get someone's going to come to your website to make sure you look legitimate, make sure you have the right things, make sure they want to stay around. It's going to be a touch point for sure, but attribution of across the journey is a hard thing as Fastbook goes. Ultimately, we really want our website to be beautiful, but also super informative and really boil down the problems for our individual users. So we've spent a lot of time, or spending a lot of time and effort to make sure that's happening.
Okay, great to hear. So on that note then, is there any tools or tips or methods that you would recommend to our listeners as far as some website lead generation?
Yeah, a lot. I've cut my teeth in marketing for a lot of years. So do one thing at a time that your user cares about. Number one, period, is just why are they there, and understand that. Copy is probably half or more of the magic sauce, but that copy good copy comes from knowing your customers and really understanding what their pain points and what they're coming to you for. What are they looking for is a huge thing to understand. Short content is sexy, and it's kind of been the standard bearer in the social media age. Obviously, a lot of blogs and things like that are out there, but really AI is changing how Google and others are surfacing content and pages. So staying ahead of that's going to be a thing all us marketers have to understand. Really making sure that we can get as many sources of quality information out and in as possible.
Okay, perfect. Great for sharing that with us. Now, well, let's switch gears a little bit, Eric, and let's talk about you as a leader. You being the head of marketing there for Personal AI, what are some key tasks you like to focus on your day-to-day work?
Anyone who works at a startup will have the task that every day is different and challenging, and you do a lot of things and wear hats constant. Ultimately, that's what I love. And what I do a lot every day is write. I work with our founding team to kind of get their messages out there. They're excellent leaders and business people and builders, just quality people, working with them and making sure that they're heard, because that's kind of my job particularly. They're really excellent people. I manage the newsletter. All the other campaigns, social campaigns, I work with their social media manager to make sure that stuff is kind of on target, employed to the right people. I review a lot of the analytics, Google Analytics, SEMrush, all those kind of things to kind of making sure that we know where traffic is coming from, going to, how people are finding us. Really kind of reviewing that stuff religiously is something I do every morning. Customer research, we've got a really epic team now working on kind of customer basics and talking to them and understanding. So reading a lot of her research. I read a lot of journals to know what I'm talking about in AI. It's a new field that's not so new, but really emerging into the mainstream zeitgeist is really kind of staying ahead of where people are and what they're talking about is also something I really like to do.
Definitely. All right. Well, it sounds like you have a full plate there on your hand, but you're all really organized. Love to hear that. And in the between times then, Eric, how do you stay up to date with all the marketing news, trends out there, strategies? Is there a preferred channel that you like to go with?
There's the signal to noise now is so impossible. You kind of got to find good aggregators, whether there's people like you or other podcasters, or newsletters. Some really great newsletters out there, particularly for AI now. I love history, particularly. I think how founders have solved problems in the past is always applicable to kind of how we do things today. I tend to try to watch and absorb as much high quality content. So a lot of kind of free classes from Google. We also offer kind of free classes on how to train your own AI. So I've been doing a lot of that research and understanding how my personal AI can benefit my team and my people who need me in my understanding every day. So all of that kind of fits into my daily kind of content or intake. And 14 years in media, kind of my teeth in newsletters kind of has shaped that a bit.
Thing. Perfect. Awesome. Great to hear that then. And we'll just switch to our next section here, Eric, which is our rapid fire question rounds. Are you ready for them?
Let's go do it.
All right. Perfect. Then first off, Eric, then is what is the last book that you read?
I tend to read 2 books at a time, one nonfiction, one fiction. My nonfiction was The Art of Thinking Clearly by Rolf Dobelli. And my nonfiction is The Ministry of the Future by Ken Stanley Robinson. Both are epic books. I suggest them highly.
Definitely. Okay, great to read this for our listeners. Next up then is, if there would be no boundaries in technology, what would be that one thing that you want to have fixed for your role as a marketer today?
Attribution is really kind of the ultimate thing that AI can help solve in today's marketing that we're really interested in kind of understanding more. And because right now, the touch points before anybody's purchased, the intent kind of are much more obfuscated than it used to be. There's much more research done, and your first interaction with the customer is really rarely going to be your final purchase decision. So really understanding attribution is something that's super cool. That would be kind of an awesome stop at 100% certainty of attribution modeling.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Next up then is, if there's one repetitive task that you could automate, what would that be?
Meetings. And believe me, we're trying. Imagine sending your AI, which can answer questions for you, to a meeting that can then give you back all the information that you're not just getting a transcript, you're actually like being interactive with the meeting. That is something that would make my life 1,000 times easier and give people back more hours of their day.
Definitely, that would be really nice, right? I think just getting some back time, 1-2 hours is enough. So great to hear that.
And still getting things done. And still getting stuff done is really the important stuff. Be able to be in Mexico on a beach near you while getting work done is kind of the dream, right?
Exactly. Yep. That's what it's all about. So awesome to hear that from you guys. Well, lastly then, Eric, is, I mean, you have a lot of experience already in the marketing world, but what is that one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you were to restart your journey as a marketer today?
Get highly focused on asking people questions, getting really good at that. I was always told we've got 2 ears and one mouth. It's really learning to ask questions, reading between the lines of what they tell you. There's a reason why economists don't like questionnaire data and rather use data from actions. Also, go ahead and learn SQL and Python way sooner.
Definitely, right? I think those are some tools that everybody needs in today's world and going future. Well, depending on how technology is going to be advanced, right, with AI and everything, but definitely some great advice there for our listeners.
You don't even need history and running SQL and Python anymore. AI is going to help do a lot of that stuff and get you there much faster. So I'm jealous of kids starting today. Their journey in the office.
Definitely. I mean, not just everywhere, right? My kid is in middle school right now. When ChatGPT came out, he was like, "Oh, look how fast I did this," and I was like, "Oh, that was amazing, right? Like I used to go and get a book and do my digging and sit in the library for a couple of hours. So definitely,
We used to pull the encyclopedias. That's all old I had encyclopedias that are and they were probably city ones from the 80s. It's crazy. The kids have access to such powerful tools today, and I hope teachers are using them wisely and teaching kids how to think.
yeah, exactly. I think that was the only bad thing I saw. I was like, oh man, are you getting just, sorry for the listeners, right? Are you guys getting dumber or, are you actually learning, right? So
I
definitely.
think AI is the death of mediocrity. That's my take on it. So hopefully we can all start from a better place.
Definitely awesome. Hey, well, Eric, it's been a pleasure to have had you on with us today, but I do want to give you the last word. If someone forgets everything about the interview today, what is that one thing they should remember about personal.ai?
Yeah, we're the trusted source for a customized AI. Everyone's going to have one in the future, just like a website or an Instagram or social media. Having an AI will help you in your business, and let personal AI help you figure that out. We're here to help you train your AIs or help you train your own AI. So either way, we're here to kind of help you.
Perfect. Awesome. Hey, well, thank you so much, Eric, for being on with us today. For our listeners, check them out at personal.ai. They'll always be there. Private models trained on personal memory, unique to every individual. Thanks a lot, Eric, for being on with us. To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm looking forward to our next episode at Pathmonk Presents. Thanks a lot, Eric.
Thanks, Ernesto. Have a good day.
You too.